Hey, how you doing? Duff here. This is the conclusion video for my selling my Tesla Model Y to Vroom story. Those of you that are not familiar, that have not seen the prior videos, in a nutshell, the Cliff Notes version is I bought my Model Y SR at the end of February for $39,900 plus taxes and fees and all that kind of stuff for $39,900, and I sold it to Vroom for $49,000. Now, when I made that first video, there was tons and tons of people saying, I've heard all kinds of shady stuff about Vroom. Here's a link to the Better Business Bureau, and people complaining about Vroom. And I read those warnings, and there are definitely problems with some transactions that people have had through Vroom. And my transaction with Vroom was far from smooth sailing, and I will talk about a few of those things here. So the last video that I made, I talked about the car. It was actually when the car was just picked up. It was picked up by the carrier, and once it was picked up by the carrier, I tracked it with my Apple AirTag, and it was left at the Mannheim Auto Auction in Orlando, and it stayed in that area. I haven't checked today, but up until yesterday, it was still in that same general vicinity, assuming it's waiting to be auctioned off. So it was picked up. The next day, I got payment in my bank account for the amount that they paid minus what I owed on the loan. I got an email that said, okay, we're going to begin the transfer to your bank account, and here is the FedEx tracking number for the payment that we're going to be sending to Chase Auto to pay off your loan. So I said, great. I waited a few days because when I checked the FedEx tracking number at first, there was no activity. I waited 3 days. Still no activity on that FedEx tracking number. And ironically, I went through this before. Part of the transaction is they send you a power of attorney form for Texas that has to be FedEx to you. And the first time that they supposedly sent that to me, I had a FedEx tracking number, no activity. It never got to me. They had to resend it again. So I thought, oh, wow, this is deja vu. Seems like they have an issue getting out things that they are sending through FedEx for some reason. It's kind of weird. So I called them up and I said, hey, I have this tracking number for the payment for my loan. There's no activity on it. Can you check it out? And again, we got the help desk. The primary help desk for Vroom is based in India. And if you're like me, dealing with Indian support staff is never a great experience, and it hasn't been for me. So one tip I can give you, first of all, when it comes to Vroom, is you can ask the first person you talk to for the Tier 2 help desk or Tier 2 support. Tier 2 is in the United States. It's in a US help desk. Everyone speaks English. It's much easier to communicate and to get things done going that route. But when it comes to this check for the payoff for the bank, I cannot get any answers. I waited 3 days to call. The initial response I got back was, hey, wait a couple more days and let's just see what happens. And if we don't see a payment then call us back. I did that, called them back. There was no activity on the FedEx tracking. The loan did not appear to be paid off when I checked the Chase site either. So they said, okay, the next step is to stop payment on that original check, and then we have to issue another check. And basically for the next 10 days or so, I was in a holding pattern where this was supposedly happening, and it wasn't happening. And I think in total I called 6 times, I believe. Each time I called, I got a very similar story. We can't talk to the accounts payable department directly, but we're going to expedite your case. One time, because they will tell you that by default they give 72 hours for the accounts payable department to respond. So through these calls, I got one rep that said that they were going to expedite my case, and it was only going to take 48 hours to get a response. Didn't get a response. After those 48 hours, I called back again. Okay, we're going to expedite this further. It's only going to be 24 hours till you get a response. And of course, you can imagine I didn't get a response. So I was getting frustrated, as you can imagine. You know, I had made my July payment on the car, But now this was stretching until the end of last week, and I'm like, oh geez, I mean, how long am I gonna have to go through this shit? So finally, I called back on Friday, and all these support people, outside of one call, I had one call when I called, and the girl was just like reading me the script, and I kind of flipped out on her a little bit because she was like not looking at my my case notes at all. She wasn't interested in the history. She was just saying, well, they got 72 hours to respond, and she just wanted to get me off the phone. And I kind of read her the riot act, and then I got transferred to tier 2, or I asked for someone else. I asked for her boss, and I don't have a supervisor here, so I just talked to somebody else. And I got transferred to tier 2, and they were helpful. So anyways, during this entire time, there's been no secondary FedEx tracking number sent. There's been no update from accounts payable what's going on with the payment of my loan. So I call on Friday again, ask for tier 2, I get transferred to tier 2, and the call started out much the same as all the other ones. Okay, well, I see that, you know, supposedly the check was going to be canceled and resent out, but I don't see any updates here from the accounting department. And the multiple people that I talked to in tier 2, they said that this was not just me. There is a definite backlog of work, I guess, for the accounts payable department at Vroom, you know, because there's so many transactions going on, I guess, or they're understaffed. I don't know, but they're having a hard time getting things done, evidently. But anyways, this woman was looking at my information, and she saw she had a check number, and she said, you know, to me this looks like this was paid. This was already paid. I'm like, what do you mean it's already paid? She said, log into your Chase account and look what it shows. So I did while she was sitting there on the phone waiting for me, and lo and behold, the loan is paid off. The loan was closed on the 28th of July, but get this, the payment was registered as hitting Chase July 16th. Based on this timeline, that means that the original check that I never got any FedEx tracking updates on actually paid the loan off. So that first check actually paid the loan off. It was sent, it was paid, but for some reason, either they messed up the FedEx tracking number, they didn't send it via FedEx, I have no idea. But the loan is paid. So I asked the woman, I said, hey, you know, why could none of these previous people see this? And she didn't, you know, in my notes, and why couldn't they tell me that it looked like it was paid? Because no one could. She didn't know. And you know, I just shrugged my shoulders. Okay, well, I guess the Vroom deal is done. And it is. I got my money, my car is paid off, and the car is safely in Central Florida, where it will go to its next owner. So, I mean, all's well that ends well, right? But you know, the process of trying to get this all figured out through Vroom has been a headache, obviously, and was getting me increasingly frustrated as time went on. I read some stories of people that, you know, lucky for me that I actually took the step to try to ensure that that loan payment was paid off. It seems like some people, they get the email that, hey, we're paying off your loan, and they don't follow up on it and just make sure that it's happening. And then lo and behold, the loan doesn't get paid off. I've heard some horror stories along those lines as well. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean, my transaction's done. Vroom in the end did what they said they were going to do. It took some work on my part, some persistence and phone calls and all that kind of stuff, but the deal's done. So take it for what you will. Since my first video, there's been multiple people that have told me that they had done similar to me. They've taken their car, Tesla or otherwise, but a lot of people with Teslas chimed in. I've had people that said that they went to Carvana. I had people that said they went to CarMax. I had some guy that said he went to a Porsche dealer and they outright bought his Tesla in like an hour. So there is no only this company is doing it. You know, if you don't get a good number from Carvana, check with Vroom. If you don't get a good number from Vroom, check with CarMax. Check with the dealer. Somebody said that they sold it privately. They sold their Model Y SR for 50,000 plus privately. I think he said 55 actually. So there are opportunities out there. If you don't like the first number that you get, I would encourage you to look again because you might have better results that way. So yeah, guys, that's my story. I have finally completed my transaction. The ETA for my new Model Y long range is it's still in the mid-August to early September timeframe. That hasn't really changed much, but I'm looking forward to getting that rolling. And again, I feel very, very fortunate to have things worked out the way they have. You know, even with the agina, even with the frustration, the end result is what I hoped for. So guys, that's it. That's the end of my Tesla series. I guess it's gonna be the last Tesla video I do for a little while because I don't have a Tesla right now, right? So if you guys found this interesting, please give it a big thumbs up. If this is your first time visiting the channel, please think about subscribing. And if you're going to subscribe, you can always hit the notify bell over there somewhere. Of course, I will be documenting the process of getting my new Model Y and anything that happens with that as well. The fact that they do now have a full self-driving subscription available for $199 a month, that could come into play down the road for me. We'll see. It kind of depends on how quickly and how soon, or how quickly full self-driving is actually released to the masses. I wouldn't pay for the features that I had when I last had full self-driving, but if the beta features are released to the masses, then maybe I would consider the subscription. I don't know. We'll see. So anyways, guys, feel free to leave your comments, suggestions, ideas, and thoughts below. Big thanks to the members of my channel. They help support things, and I'm very appreciative of their support. And I hope you guys had a great weekend. I got some work to do. So until next time, Duffman out. Don't they say to leave sleeping dogs lie?